Hi everyone, and welcome to the show. I'm Nancy Guppy. Of course, joining me on camera, Mr. Joe Guppy. That is Joe's hand waving at you. And this week we are coming to you from one of our very favorite places, Seattle Art Museum. All right, now as an institution that is now open to the public, SAM is adhering strictly to COVID-19 protocol, which of course means masking up when you go into the museum. All right, let's go in. This mask features words by Seattle artist Mark Mumford, who created this piece in 2002. It's part of SAM's permanent collection. And the phrase, "We are all in this together," could not be more relevant 18 years later. By the way, this mask is available in the SAM gift shop. Okay, let's get this show on the road. Here's what's coming up. Stone Gossard and Mason Jennings chat about their side project, Painted Shield. We tour SAM's fabulous new exhibit, City of Tomorrow. Music from the phenomenal Lori Goldston. And Eric Elbogen of Say Hi extends his virtual tour. And we'll begin with the art-inspired life of the wonderfully down-to-earth Arlo Keister.
I like to make art that looks handmade. I'm not looking for something that's perfect and polished. I like to see the dings and the hammer strikes. Growing up with a dad who's famous regionally was interesting. Oh, your dad's John Keister.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Welcome to the show.
If your friends would hear, oh, your dad's on TV, you must be rolling in it, because everyone on TV is rich. Not exactly how we grew up here in Ellensburg, but we grew up good, man.
Marilee and I had twins right off the bat, it's amazing. You don't even remember the first year, And so Arlo came along, 2.5 years later, and one of the mistakes people make when raising children is that they have a baby and then they have another one and they think that one's going to be just the same and it's going to develop the same way as the first one. And that never happens. The twins were closer, but you could see their different personalities right from the beginning. And then Arlo was a completely different personality. Marilee had this household that encouraged a lot of creativity in terms of physical objects and imagery and stuff like that. Arlo started manipulating objects, three-dimensional objects, a lot. He started getting better and better, and eventually he had a shop class in junior high where the shop teacher saw what he could do, and he just pulled him aside and said, "Arlo, your assignment is to do whatever you want to do. I just want to see what you come up with." And he would teach the other kids in the class, but Arlo was this thing apart. And other people began noticing that about him, and he began getting recommendations from Marilee's artist friends about when people needed someone who could fabricate things like that.
I just have fun making stuff. I wouldn't really say that I define myself as an artist because I don't have any installations. I don't have a catalog. I just like tinkering around, and if someone has an idea of something I can help them with, I'm always happy to. I'm a firm believer in the handmade birthday gift. Got some of these stainless steel made in the USA flasks. So now we're making a nice custom nameplate for my brother. I might give it to him full or not. We'll see how long the drive takes.
The value in what Arlo does in making his own work and in taking already existing objects and making you look at them in a completely different way is an expression of what artists are supposed to do. Artists are supposed to provide people things that life does not provide them naturally.
My mother was probably my favorite audience. She had the best laugh, and it was just so warm and fun to make her laugh. And so, we'd get pretty goofy with the things that we do. I definitely feel my mother's spirit here. I feel like this property is just a piece of work that's never gonna be finished. My mother left a pile of tiles in the yard. Now, mind you, none of it's really matching, not enough to do one kind of tile for the whole wall, so I figured, why don't we just do some mosaics? And there's one design that my mom put in a lot of her artwork, which is a heart with an eye in the middle, which I guess I interpret that as look with your heart, see the world through a kinder view. I also wanted to incorporate all the local wildlife into the shower, so I have a rainbow trout, I have a mountain lion. Never seen one out in the wild, but I'm not sure if that's a good or bad thing. I'd say if I had to pick one spirit animal, it would be the bighorn sheep. I just like having things for people to look at and enjoy. It's just a great feeling when you can see someone's curiosity sparked. All right, so we good? How's that? Yeah, if you're in Ellensburg, stop on by and have a look if this kind of thing's your bag.
A terrific exhibit recently opened at SAM. It is called City of Tomorrow, Jinny Wright and the Art That Shaped a New Seattle. And this is a collection of art from Virginia and Bagley Wright. They gave the museum like over 300 pieces. This exhibit features about 60 of the pieces. They're absolutely amazing. It was beautifully curated by Katarina Manchanda. We're going to take a swing through, so come on. Now we're going to start with this piece here. This is a Mark Rothko. Jinny Wright lived in New York in the 50s or maybe late 40s, early 50s. She bought this piece in 1952 for I think around $1,300. I think she paid it for it in installments, which is amazing because a Mark Rothko is now millions and millions and millions of dollars. But she kept it, they kept it in their collection all these years and they lived with it in their house. It's a glorious, glorious piece. All right, over here, I am just enthralled with this canvas. I mean, obviously it's gigantic, which I love a big painting, but there's something about these colors. I mean, they're clearly like it's rainbow-esque, right, in terms of a lot of different colors, but there's nothing about it that seems hacked or that you've seen it before. It is extremely kind of nuanced and calm and yet very refreshing, just kind of like a burst of flowers out of the earth. It's just absolutely gorgeous. Okay, so in this room, there's a couple of pieces that they're huge and they're really beautiful. So this piece here, right, and that really different kind of a frame. It's, obviously these different angles, which, it's interesting. I like the piece. I don't love that kind of framing, but I really appreciate it. I think it obviously really holds up with the painting. And then these pieces over here with these stripes, right? I'm a real stripe freak, by the way. So that one there, there's certain calmness to it, and yet this big, huge, gashing of color, very calm, very disciplined. And then, of course, this column of color. Gotta love a column of color. Okay, this piece is hilarious. I love it. It's a piece of pecan pie, and I think that's a very fitting time. It's a fitting piece. It's the holiday season. Thanksgiving is coming upon us. Why not? It's a time for pecan pie. I would lick it, but I can't because you're not supposed to touch the art. Plus, I don't think it would taste like pecans, but it makes me want to have a piece of pecan pie. These two pieces here are really interesting. This is a Philip Guston and a Franz Klein. These two pieces always hung side by side in the Wright's home, always. That was how they were presented. So that's how Sam is presenting them here, which is, of course, extremely respectful. I love that over there, the woman on the bed. She's just super cool. It makes me want to go and sit next to her, but of course, once again, please do not touch, so I won't. But what an interesting piece. And then, of course, this here, Jasper Johns, and that's a thermometer going right up the middle, and you can see the numbers, 50, 60, 40, whatever the temperature is. That's a really beautiful piece. That's a very classic piece. All right, heading into this room. This is one of my favorite pieces in this show. And when I look at this, it's metal, painted, all these different colors. When I look at this piece, it makes me think of cars from like the 50s, kind of big, bulbous cars. I'm not a car freak. I don't know much about them. But there's a nostalgic feeling to this. I can't quite put my finger on it. It's perfectly put together. The dimensions are just spot on. Very pleasing. Very, very pleasing to look at. That, of course, is a Warhol. A little crooked, but the Sam staff is going to be, I won't touch it because that wouldn't be good. Okay, so look at this piece here. Jinny, later in her collecting career life, she had a great sense of humor, and it started to really come out in some of the pieces that she chose. This piece is a great example of that. It has a certain Chucky, horror film Chucky vibe going on with it. So it is kind of scary, but it's also extremely funny and beautifully, beautifully rendered. Those colors are just really spectacular, and that's oil. Almost looks like it's a photo with paint on it. Okay, so this is a Jeff Koons. It's a fairly famous piece, and maybe you've seen it before. I'm not the hugest fan, but I really do appreciate it, and I think it's incredibly well rendered, and I'm very fond of that gold pig nose. Pretty cute, pretty cute. Okay, over here, well, look at this is a Cindy Sherman. There's a few Cindy Shermans in the Wright collection. That's one of them. It's pretty spectacular. And then here, look at this really, really stunning piece. Glass, obviously frosted glass. And when I first looked at it, I just assumed that all the pieces were glued down onto those glass plates and kind of tabletops. But no, the Sam installation team meticulously has placed every single goblet, every single vase, every single bottle. It's all perfectly done and very thoughtfully done. It's just a gorgeous installation. I'd love to live with it. All right, finally, come this way. So this is called Y, W-H-Y, and you'll see Y in a moment. So here is the W, and there's the H right behind it, tucked behind, and there's the Y there, see that? And then, of course, the question mark. This is a great piece. Why? Why? Because we love art. So this is really just a drop in the bucket, what you've seen today. There's so many more pieces for you to enjoy, and you really want to come down here and check it out. City of Tomorrow, Jinny Wright and the Art That Shaped a New Seattle, runs now through January 18th, 2021. Tickets are available online, and you can reserve yours at seattleartmuseum.org. Our musical guest this week is renowned cellist and composer Lori Goldston, performing an original composition. Lori Goldston's latest record, On a Moonlit Hill in Slovenia, is available on Bandcamp. Painted Shield is a side project of Stone Gossard of the seminal Northwest bands Green River, Mother Love Bone, and Pearl Jam, and singer-songwriter Mason Jennings. I caught up with these two prolific artists to talk about their new record and what it's like to collaborate when you're not in the same room. One note, Stone's internet connection was a little bit glitchy, so at times you'll hear him, but what you'll see is a still photo. Squeak, squeak.
Well, Mason and Stone, it is great to see the both of you.
Good to see you.
We're happy to be here.
And congratulations on your upcoming release, right? The debut album from Painted Shield, which consists of the two of you, drummer Matt Chamberlain and keyboardist Brittany Davis. This is a big deal.
Thank you.
Now, the two of you were introduced by a mutual friend I know. So tell me, what was it about each other that made collaboration appealing? Who wants to take that one?
I was very excited to work with Stone. I mean, I've been a fan of Pearl Jam since I was a teenager, so it was very exciting. And then also, my friend Dan, who introduced us, was saying, I think you're going to like Stone because he works hard all the time. He's always creative. He's creative in all his aspects. And he seems like a kindred spirit to you in that way. Also, he seems to be much more interested in making art rather than the fame part of it or like anything that comes with that. So that appealed to me right away. And then I found immediately that he was just so easy to work with, and just he would like say he was going to do something, and then he would he's like, I'll send you something. Then he would send it. Then I'd send him something. He'd say, I'd listen to it. He would listen to it. It's like it's so rare in the music industry that those basic things were happening. So it was super fun.
That's so great. How about you, Stone?
That's a little bit of a low bar, which is kind of funny because but it's so true. Like if you're like working with somebody and you're bouncing ideas back and forth and you're responding to those ideas and you're sort of evolving ideas together, that's pretty special when you can kind of start collaborating and you see fruitful things happen from a back and forth that occurs. And we got some of that and a lot of it recently as we were finishing the record. We really dug in and pulled it apart again and did a lot of sort of deconstruction, and at each phase that we sort of agreed about how we were going to do it or what we were going to do, it improved. So that's a really thing when a collaboration is fruitful as opposed to just being difficult.
Right. There is something so nice too. You said, Mason, when someone says they're going to do something and they do it.
I know.
I find that to be thrilling.
I mean, and then it's also the stuff he was sending. I really love too. Of course, that's just like a given. But
Yeah. Well, so Mason, what was it like for you to go primarily from working with your voice and acoustic instruments to this bigger, more electric sound of Painted Shield?
Exciting for me, and it was definitely like I had to be brave about it because at the beginning I felt pretty intimidated by it. I was talking to Stone about it. I'm like, I'm afraid that my voice is going to get lost. Like I always just felt my voice had like, if it was a piece of furniture, it would have beveled edges rather than sharp edges. And I always, pictured people like Robert Plant or Jack White to have these sharp edges that sit well with electric instruments. And he was like, no, man, he's like, you're cutting through. You can hear it really good. And a lot of that's about the mix, So I just trusted him and just sang from my heart. And sure enough, like in the mix, like they could do magic. Like you can hear me.
My life, it didn't quite turn out the way I always dreamed about. My pockets never filled with gold. My story has remained untold.
What was the process for writing the lyrics?
I would listen to stuff in my car. Like I have this loud car stereo with subwoofers and stuff, and I would just crank it and listen to it and drive around or put it on my headphones a lot. And then slowly I would just start to, hear stuff.
Long dreams, I made mistakes but never learned a lesson.
Which is different from me. Usually I have an instrument on, or I'd be playing a piano or having something. It's more like it would be more sort of internal. Like I kind of go into a little zone, but this was more like looking out, cranking something, and it was coming from a slightly different place, which was fun.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so the Painted Shield songs I have heard feature lots of some distorted fuzzy guitar, which I love. but there's also plenty of intricate, subtler sounds in the mix. So who comes up with the arrangements?
Well, I did a lot of the arranging, at least initially, and then, after that, we all played a role. John Congleton, who's the guy that mixed it, he really came in and did a lot of work on the record.
My mama says there's no time machine.
We invited John to say, this is what we've been working on for 6 years. We can't hear it at all. We have no idea we like it, but it's, but what do you hear and what would you change, and be aggressive with your intuition.
Years spent searching to break my heart.
So the song 10 Years From Now has kind of this upbeat, jangly 60s vibe. But I understand, Mason, I think that you originally conceived of it as more kind of screaming vocals. So tell me a little bit about the evolution of that for you.
Yeah, the original track it was the guitar part. Stone's guitar part was like, he sent it to me it was pretty distorted, and it had like electronic drum beat under it. It sounded kind of like Nine Inch Nails. And then I started doing a scream track and a whisper track and all this distorted vocals, and it was cool. Like, I thought it was pretty cool, but it was just kind of like, it just like Stone was saying, it was like more one dimensional than some of the other songs. So then we kind of took a break from it, and he was just like, maybe have it be the same singer, the same narrator, who was basically screaming about this injustice, and then be like, what about in 10 years? How's he going to feel in 10 years? Kind of zoom out.
10 years from now, I hope that we're 10 times stronger.
I think the thing that made it sound 60s is Matt Chamberlain came in. He was like, how about this kind of drums? And it was like this Ringo. He's like, this is exactly the kit that Ringo played, and I'm going to play it. And we're like, holy it was amazing.
Silly, silly little shit. Don't you know you're in too deep? Just be brave and take my hand. We'll lead you to the promised land.
So your drummer, Matt Chamberlain, obviously a huge, major, rock star guy.
Yeah.
Played with so many great people: David Bowie, Bob Dylan, Macy Gray, to name just a few. So tell me a little bit about his contributions to your sound.
Basically, the song "I Am Your Country" is musically, it's probably 80%, maybe 90%. It's Matt. It's him playing the keyboards. It's him doing the drums. He had the entire song arranged. I just sang over it, and then Stone put some guitar, and Brittany sang a little bit, and that was like the quickest song we did, because Matt had already done all the heavy lifting on it.
Many generations have left their spark inside your eyes. If you're looking for a miracle, take a look in the mirror and contemplate your life.
His versatility is amazing. He's just kind of like, he's got it all, really, and he's super nice.
That's a big plus right there.
Yeah.
Super nice. Always a good thing.
Yeah.
So Brittany Davis, keyboardist, and obviously contributes some really excellent vocals. How did she become involved with Painted Shield?
I met Brittany Davis through Om Jahari, and as I got to know her after seeing her and hearing her play with some of the folks that we were kind of connected with, we started making her record. And so she's in the process of making her own album right now. And because she's such a wonderful person, we're like, well, you should also play on this record too, because it would be really great. She's going to be our secret weapon. We'll probably play more as more like a 4-piece when we play, and there'll be a lot of opportunities for her to really like showcase how good she is. And I'm really looking forward to that, because she's an assassin.
I love that. She's an assassin. That's such a great way to describe an artist. Well, you two, thank you so much for talking with me. Congratulations on the record, and I very much look forward to seeing Painted Shield live and in person somewhere in the vicinity of the Northwest, I hope.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
We're speculating about that right now, about when can we book a show, and we're still a little ways off, but hopefully soon.
We have a 800 square foot deck that's west facing here on the west side of Queen Anne. And
Nice.
if you feel that would work for you, let me know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, Kit. Thank you guys. Thanks a ton.
Really
So
appreciate it.
Painted Shield's self-titled debut record drops Friday, November 27th on the Loose Groove Records label. Finally, Eric Elbogen of the band Say Hi, of which he is the sole member, recently performed a 4-week virtual living room tour from his home studio that was so successful, he's added 6 more shows over 3 days, November 20th, 21st, and 22nd. And you can reserve your virtual seat at livingzoomshows.com. And that is a wrap. A huge thank you to Seattle Art Museum, especially Rachel Eggers, for giving us the run of the place. And SAM is currently open Friday through Sunday, and it's really easy to plan your visit. Just go to seattleartmuseum.org. And thanks so much for watching. Have a great week, stay safe, and we'll see you soon. I want that. I do.